Welcome back, Defenders. Jake here. When I started this YouTube channel, I never thought I'd be talking about the weather, but in today's video, we're going to talk about the weather. Bad weather in Ukraine leads to floods, power outages, and traffic issues. It was the storm of the century. 4 reported deaths, power cut to over 2 million people across Russia and the occupied territories. So here's a map of the Black Sea, showing the low pressure system that formed, causing a storm surge with waves 9 meters high. And the wind was blowing all of it towards Crimea and the Russian coastline. Russian defenses in Crimea washed away during huge winter storm. Large parts of Ukraine are currently experiencing heavy snowfalls and high winds. So these are the goofy fortifications that the Russians built on the beaches of Crimea. You can see there's dragon teeth, as if tanks are going to be landed here, a trench network, bunkers, and lots of wood to reinforce the trenches. And it's gone. All gone. There's videos. Let me share just a little bit of this clip of the Crimean coastline. So the wind speeds reached 115 to 130 kilometers per hour, and the waves surged as high as 8 or 9 meters. And of course, it wouldn't be a storm without some goofy reporter standing in the wind to let you know exactly how windy it is. Yeah, it's pretty entertaining. And it wasn't just Crimea. This is the Russian coastline close to Sochi, Russia. And check out the storm surge that destroyed this beach.
Песочница уже не в бассейне. Все, первый этаж. До свидания.
This was the first major storm of the winter season. Potentially, there could be worse to come. And here's a crazy video showing Russians on a train going over train tracks that have been washed away.
Вот разрушение, смотри, внизу.
Вот это и показывали.
Вот, смотри, путь подмыл, Охренеть, смотри, стул болтается. Мы проехали, разрушение, Серафим.
Вот, смотри,
Разрушение, смотри.
This Russian train is traveling on a track where 2 feet away, the track next to it doesn't have anything underneath it. The Russians are insane for operating this train. And when I saw this storm surge, this winter snowfall, all I could think about was the hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian defenders currently living in trenches, holding the front lines. And here's a video put out by Anton showing a Ukrainian defender going to his post during the storm. He says in the video, "I have to go to the post. Who else will defend our Ukraine?"
Да, на пост надо идти все равно. Кто ж будет захищать нашу неньку Украину? Кто крім нас?
Heroes. Fortunately, the storm is past and the weather has warmed up. This is the weather forecast in Odessa. It's currently about 9 degrees Celsius. You don't have to worry about the cold, freezing temperatures, but with all the snow melts, everyone's going to be wet, everyone's going to be miserable. When we check in on the military map, there's still a lot of action currently happening in the Kherson region. Russian troops complain of logistics threats from the Ukrainian bridgeheads. So the report is that the commanders in the Kherson region didn't want to tell their superiors they were experiencing difficulties. Kherson is supposed to be a frozen region. Ukraine is not supposed to be crossing the river. So Russian commanders have been lying to their superiors about the real situation, resulting in them getting fewer supplies, not enough to actually repel and expel Ukrainian forces. So Ukraine is across the river. They're in the village of Krimki. They are slowly expanding the territory under their control. They're trying to establish a presence in this wooded region. And if you remember, to the south is that giant sand dune. There's no Russians there. So the Ukrainians just have to focus on pushing west and pushing east to establish a permanent presence on the other side of the river. When we switch over to the Donbass region, the city of Avdiivka continues to hold. Weather is bad, fields are muddy. Russia is still sending these meat wave attacks, and you can even tell from the losses reported daily. Only 3 tanks, only 3 armored vehicles, but still 860 casualties. Meaning, Russia is just sending people on foot now. They don't want to risk losing any more vehicles, but losing men, that doesn't seem to concern the Russians. And this needs to be highlighted. This needs to be emphasized. If you're watching this video, this is the rhetoric we need to be using. Russia reportedly suffers some of the highest casualty rates over the past 6 weeks, ever since they launched this new offensive on Avdiivka. According to UK Defense Intelligence, Russian casualties, as reported by the Ukrainian General Staff, are running at a daily average of 931 per day. This is deadlier than when Russia was assaulting the city of Bakhmut back in March, leading to 776 losses per day. So this 6-week assault on Avdiivka has been more deadly than the assault on Bakhmut. This month, the month of November, once we get the final totals in 2 days, will have been the deadliest month for the Russian military since the war began. And what I think is happening is 2 parts. Putin genuinely does want a military victory on the battlefield. He wants to take Avdiivka before his end-of-the-year press conference and before he announces his re-election campaign. But this is also a bluff to demoralize the West, to prevent governments from allocating additional funds. They want people to believe this war is a lost cause for Ukraine. So by throwing away the lives of 30,000 soldiers and hundreds of armored vehicles, Russia's trying to bluff and say they can do this forever, that their resources are infinite, that they will continue throwing away 1,000 lives a day for as long as it takes to get the territorial borders of Donetsk and Zaporizhia and Kherson. The honest truth is they can't do this, but they're pretending like they can do this in the short term, maybe even through Putin's re-election in March, to once again demoralize the West. But this was the deadliest month for the Russian military because of their suicidal attacks on Avdiivka. And if you don't believe me, the evidence is everywhere. I'm going to link about 4 or 5 clips down below if you want to see what the battlefield looks like for yourself. So this video is a drone video just showing how many armored vehicles have been destroyed and abandoned on the battlefield south of Avdiivka. So this video is geolocated. It's a field on the south side. The south side, the north side, has been more deadly for the Russians. Here's a video filmed. I can't show it. Here's a video filmed from a Russian soldier just showing bodies everywhere. The corpses of his comrades littering the field as he has to advance past the bodies. I'll link it down below. Here's another insane video caught on drone camera, but this is a Russian soldier collecting mines. He's just picking them up and then stacking them near a destroyed vehicle. He's spotted by a Ukrainian drone, and the drone hits the catch of mines, vaporizing the vehicle and vaporizing this Russian soldier. It's a pretty crazy video. So if you're one of the Russian soldiers lucky enough to only lose a limb and lucky enough to receive competent medical treatment, this is what happens to you. Here's another video from Dmitry at War Translated showing a Russian soldier who lost his leg. He filmed this video to let people in Russia know how their disabled veterans currently are being treated. So here's what he has to say. My call sign is Archie. I serve in the 255th Motor Rifle Regiment. I received a bad injury, due to which my leg was amputated. I ended up in a hospital on the 30th of September, and today is the 3rd of November, so this video is about 3 weeks old now. I was dismissed from the hospital and brought here. Nothing healed. They said, wait till tomorrow, you'll get your documents back, then get the F out of here. Completely unclear location, so he was dumped somewhere, and he doesn't even know where he currently is. Looks abandoned. These are our conditions. They gave us tents. We have around 100 people here, from various directions: Zaporizhia, Kupiansk, Krinky, Donetsk, Luhansk. Come here. So he's going to show inside the tent and what their living conditions are. Here we have at best 13 sleeping beds. For the rest we have uncovered floors. He's then going to go into another tent, entering the next tent to see what's going on. In this tent, no room and no sleeping beds. Comrades only made something out of stretchers. He's then going to show another tent. Here are around 20 sleeping beds. These conditions show all this crap. They left us, unhealed, badly injured people in these conditions. Where the heck are these guys? They look like they're sleeping under a bridge in tents. And what Russia's doing is they're not discharging him. This guy is still wearing his uniform, and he's missing a leg. And I think what's happening here is that Russia doesn't want these guys going back to Russia and looking bad. It's very uncomfortable for the people of Moscow and St. Petersburg to see cripples and disabled veterans. So I think Putin is literally sweeping these people under the rug to hide them until at least after his re-election campaign in March. And the Kremlin has reportedly told regional governors to extinguish with money the protests of wives and mobilized soldiers ahead of next March's elections. It is said to believe that these protesting wives often are waiting not for their husbands, but for their salary cards. So Putin doesn't want any protests. He doesn't want anyone gathering in the streets, objecting to his re-election. So Putin has ordered the regional governors to silence all these women with money. Just pay them off, at least until his re-election in March. He doesn't want civil unrest. He wants a smooth coronation. Then he's got another 5 years in office, and he doesn't have to worry about how badly this war looks for another 5 years. But Ukraine's not going to give Putin a smooth coronation. Kyiv confirms successful drone strike on Russian aircraft factory in Smolensk. Russians said a Ukrainian drone fell on the roof of one of these factories and exploded. Ukrainian intelligence sources confirmed that it was a planned operation. So this is a aircraft factory kind of near the Belarus border, Smolensk. Somehow, Ukraine is getting their drones through Russia's air defense systems and hitting these industrial factories. This is pretty interesting. The Chelmiansk tractor factory was on fire yesterday. Unclear exactly what caused it, whether it was an accident, partisans, or a Ukrainian drone attack. If Ukraine did this, that's pretty impressive because look how far away this tractor factory is from the Ukrainian border. This factory dates back to the Soviet Union's first 5-year plan. This factory pumped out tanks during World War II, and it's pretty well known in Russia. And it blew up, caught on fire. Here's an alarming quote from U.S. Senator Chris Murphy. He's a supporter of Ukraine. "I don't know that Ukraine can survive until February of 2024. My sense is they will start to run short on ammunition in the next several weeks." So military aid from the United States to Ukraine officially ran out on October 1st. This was almost 2 months ago. And in order to get more military aid for Ukraine from the United States, we just need this one guy, Speaker Johnson, to schedule a vote. There's a supermajority in both chambers of Congress that support additional military aid to Ukraine. But this guy doesn't want to schedule a vote. But he is sounding like he might be coming around. Johnson confident and optimistic about Israel-Ukraine funding packages, chances. He said this on camera yesterday. This is a welcomed statement from the new speaker.
Ukraine is another priority. Of course, we can't allow Vladimir Putin to march through Europe, and we understand the necessity of assisting there. What we've said is that if there is to be additional assistance to Ukraine, which most members of Congress believe is important, we have to also work in changing our own border policy. And so there's been a lot of thoughtful negotiation ongoing with that. I think most of our Senate colleagues recognize that.
So my hope with Speaker Johnson, because he hasn't been voting as an individual member to support Ukraine, but now that the power and responsibility is his, Ukraine's fate can be influenced by him now. I'm hoping he's getting the intelligence briefings from our military leaders. I know European leaders have been calling him, meeting with him, explaining the situation and the importance of supporting democracy in Europe. So there's going to be a fight this month, and the Democrats control the Senate. This is Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. U.S. Senate announces votes on Ukraine aid, probably happening next week. So what the Senate and the White House wants is a combined military aid bill for Israel, Ukraine, maybe Taiwan, and maybe something about border security. And Speaker Johnson is saying he doesn't want that. He wants to vote on funding for Israel separate, and then some kind of border security and Ukraine joint bill. So I think the House is going to pass their own bill, the Senate's going to pass their own bill, and they're just going to stare at each other for a couple weeks, and then something will pass the week between Christmas and New Year's. What will this bill be? And I don't think it'll be the $60 billion that President Biden is asking for. It'll probably be significantly less. And the rumor is that it might be about $7 billion for the fiscal year of 2024. It's not great, but it's better than nothing. And what might happen is it'll be a reduced amount, about $7 billion. And Ukraine's going to have to hold on through the 2024 election, even if the Republicans retain control of the House, or if President Biden can hold on to the White House. They'll vote again after the 2024 election next November. So in the meantime, our European allies are going to have to step up, and Germany has been fantastic the last 2 months. Germany announces they will provide $328 million for Ukraine's energy grid. Lots of great contributions from countries across Europe. I don't want to forget about Japan or even Australia and Canada. Everyone's got to do what they can to get through 2024. This is a cool picture. Operator Starsky posted this, but he met up with Roman. I know often people wonder how Roman is doing. He suffered some head trauma and currently can't report back to the front lines until he's fully healed. So he's been in and out of hospitals, receiving treatment, trying to get over his brain contusion. And a bunch of YouTubers had a friend's Thanksgiving in Kyiv. Here's Johnny FD, Arda Rehi, Brandon Mitchell, Andrew Mercado, and just, whoever wanted to show up, make an appearance. Just a gathering of friends, having good food. You can see Roman right here. Final shout out I want to make is to a woman from Canada, and her name is April Huggett, and she's from Castlegar. She's a 34-year-old mother of 3, and I didn't know where this city is. It's in British Columbia, Canada, so it's very remote. And here's an article from the Castlegar News stating why she felt the need to volunteer and go to Ukraine. So she is going to show in this video some of the work she does, providing assistance to people who need help in Ukraine.
Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. First, I want to say thank you to Philip for this cool thing. We have no power, and this is what I'm wearing right now. It's freezing, but also, we got socks. Look at all these socks. Oh my God, there's so many. This is all from you guys. Thank you so much. It says 200 pairs of socks. Actually, 298. We already gave some away to soldiers. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited. Look at it. It's raining socks.
So if you want to support April and the work she's doing, you can follow her on Twitter at the handle de facto humanity. And if you want to donate to her, you can donate to this organization, Planet of People. Donate today to help us provide medicine, humanitarian aid, and non-lethal military aid to the Ukrainian people. Yes, everyone in the Ukrainian military is issued socks and warm weather gear, but you can never have enough socks, especially when I showed you those videos, how nasty and wet and cold it can get in those trenches. Every little bit helps. I just wanted to highlight this individual and the amazing work she's been doing so far. That's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, keep defending the truth, keep defending democracy.